Right, this one. What was your favourite memory from '94? World Cup '94?
Well, it's Italy. Beating them in New Jersey was incredible, really. Definitely the biggest Irish result in history. It still probably is.
Yeah.
I'd say. And it's just everybody expected, New York is full of Italians and all that, but there was like 65% Irish in there as well. It was incredible.
That was some Italian side.
Yeah. And we were the only, British Isles team there as well, so it was
hard, the heat.
The heat, and the way we played as well. I mean, we were very well organised, but in that heat, you needed to keep the ball, and we just didn't. We had a great team then.
We just didn't.
Well, we didn't
You
because
still won.
So Jack wanted the ball. Jack wanted the ball far forward as possible away from his goal, like centre half. But it worked with Ireland because we'd never qualified for a tournament until he came in '88.
Brilliant player.
So some really good players there.
Good lads.
Yeah. You never played golf, did you?
No.
I don't think
But we had a
you'd have
great.
the patience.
No,
for
you
golf,
wouldn't.
Would you?
No. We had a
Maybe
great
like
spirit, though.
physical.
We had a great spirit. It carried us over the line quite a lot. And great players as well.
Who's the best player that you played with?
I would put down to two, Mr. Keane or Mr. Robson. Very similar. I like those tough, aggressive players. They'd be in my side all day long. And don't get me wrong, I've got a fair choice. Mikes was a great goalkeeper. Scholes, he was an unbelievable footballer. Giggsy, longevity of what he achieved and all that. But Robbo was brilliant for 4 years. I know I caught the end of his career, but you could see why he was Mr. Manchester United in the 80s. You know what I mean? I used to watch him, box to box play. He was a typical box to box player back in the day, a bit like you, Roy. Box to box, ended up being a holding midfield player. Exactly, leader, captain, encouraging people, and clip around the air.
Oldham is horrible. Coming down, though, you come out and go down those stairs there, they were horrible.
We knew the Southern softies when they were coming up there. Right?
No.
Have your gloves on?
No, I never wore gloves. It was a tough place to go, Oldham, at that time. And then the pitch came in, that plastic pitch came in, it was even more. You just didn't feel like you wanted to play on that pitch. I didn't want to play on that pitch.
Were you the only team with that pitch?
Yeah.
No.
QPR,
Luton and
Also,
Preston
yeah.
had the same one as us as well for 4 years.
Like a proper Astro turf?
It was, yeah.
Was
Can you
it?
imagine then?
But it was like glass.
It'd have been
I was going to say,
hockey.
did
It's like a hockey.
Were your lads
legs?
getting injured on that? No.
You'd kind of rip, once you rip your leg.
You never felt it on your knees later on? Or?
No, fine.
But you didn't train on it, Dennis? Would you train on it?
Yeah, in the winter particularly,
Right,
but
okay.
not
Do
during
you think it take its toll on your body
Yeah,
in the
but
winter?
they do
the whole of
say-
Oldham's winter, innit?
It's kind of a bit of a myth. I think it's if you go on like 4G, then grass and 4G grass. I think if you're
That's
on
what
one
it is, right, okay.
surface, your body kind of does
That's huge.
adapt to it, yeah. So I think it's more if you like alternating. But I wouldn't have wanted to slide tackle on Astro.
You didn't. Full stop.
Just jockey him out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually never saw you go to ground, Dennis.
That's probably why I had 4 years. You learn quickly.
On your feet.
And what were your early experiences of the boss when he obviously first signed in the club at United?
Well, I mean, you know what he's like. He's when he gets going, you can't really understand him, can you? When he gets angry, but he didn't get angry as many times as what everybody says. I just went to an environment that it was a learning environment. It was an aggressive environment. You know what I mean? Archie Knox was there.
I say that
assistant.
it was aggressive.
Was it pressurised?
It was aggressive.
I didn't feel. I think it depends on your personality, really. I didn't feel I was under any pressure. I was just got into the team and kind of stayed in there. Played in that brawl straight away. Remember that?
Yeah.
Dirty ass.
Is that your fault?
No, I wasn't there yet. Was that the Anders Limper?
Yeah, you just joined
I came the next year. If I came the year before, I would have
Arsenal
thought
got
that.
You'd have been with Dave Seaman, wouldn't you? He was the only one that didn't get
Dave Seaman was all the way down.
He was the only one that didn't move.
Yeah.
That's why they brought you in.
We got deducted as well, yeah.
We got one deducted.
Was it Winterburn and you?
Winterburn carried over from the year
it something
before.
to do with Brian
Winterburn and McClare.
McClare.
And
Then
then
over a penalty, the McClare missed a penalty, and
something to do with that in 89, 90, and it carried over. And
Like chalky.
I got yeah.
It's like Nigel as well, too.
Yeah.
Was it just a massive fight? Everybody?
It was just a big brawl, and I remember about 2 days later, the manager brought everybody into the office, and listen, there was 11 of us in there, 10 of their players and all that. and the manager says, put your hand up if anybody's involved. Of course, nobody puts their hand up, do they? There's 11 lads in there who were involved and all that. So, yeah, he fined me for that, actually.
What, week's wages?
2.
Wow.
So we
Ben,
Did you? Was you? What did you do? Did you do anything? Was you?
I
was
might
you
have
frying
kicked
pan-
somebody.
You might.
Yeah.
I was staying there for the season, but I always remember Phil Thompson in training. I was saying Denis Irwin type of thing. Right?
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Not,
You didn't?
not really. I mean, I wasn't great.
You couldn't get over your foot,
You-
your
you-
left foot
You know what I
through,
would
could you?
say is, and I don't know what it's like for you. It is a different position in that. But when you're on your right foot, you want to be tucked in a little bit from the line to give you the option to make that
Yeah.
pass
Come
to your
inside,
winger.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, I'd like to get wider so that I'd always go inside, you know what I mean? So I'd always I could basically go back onto my right foot. Because if I come here from the centre half and I was tucked in, I couldn't, if you wanted to really get out to your winger quick, just your left foot just doesn't work as quick,
Right.
does the type of thing. So little slight differences on the side. Did you find that yourself?
Yeah, I think you kind of just, you're right there. You just kind of, I think when you get played a bit longer and you kind of get used to the yardage, how close you are to the winger when you receive the ball and what you can do. I was probably obviously a bit more fortunate than you. I had a better left foot than you, but...
I'm right. I've said that before anyone else did.
You're being very kind there, Dennis. You know what I mean?
No, but I think it helps when you got Giggsy as well, who was Giggsy or Sharpie, who would always be looking for the ball either short or over the top. And you kind of, because I played Giggsy 10, 12 years, you kind of knew what he was going to do. And you just got that understanding with him. And
that was probably the slight problem with us as a team in that Houllier era. Our wide players were almost like centre midfield players. And
that wouldn't
I'd
have
love
helped
to
me.
have just gone,
Bang.
but and then people always go, fullbacks don't get forward, because that was the sort of the way the game was going, and we didn't.
Yeah,
really,
that wouldn't have helped me
wingers.
if we had a
You're
left
blaming the others
midfielder.
then, are you?
Yes,
You're blaming the others.
No, but you might be like
System.
Danny Murphy or Spicer or Big.
Yeah,
They're more
no.
like they wanted to be in the middle all the time. They didn't want to stay out wide.
Yeah, definitely. That didn't play because you played in England and it was a 4-4-2. Went to Europe and it was predominantly 4-3-3. And sometimes you'd have a lad out in the wing with you, and you wouldn't see him for 20 minutes. They go off wandering, don't they? Yeah. You know, like the Stoichkov and all that. Like,
That's the best. I remember that one, Dennis.
Yeah.
You struggled that night, to be fair.
Big time. We all did. Did you play that day? No?
I did. I touched it twice. I was in the warm-up.
What was that? Was that Barcelona?
Yeah.
4-0. It was unbelievable. I was
Should have
sub.
been 10.
Yeah, I was sub. I didn't want to come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we couldn't play
Did
the
they bring
strongest
you on?
team. Remember that?
Yeah.
Listen,
No, I didn't come on now.
That's the one where Schmeichel was on the...
Yeah,
didn't play
listen,
Schmeichel.
that was
Michael
difficult.
and
wasn't
Eric.
it? You couldn't play your best team. We were classed as foreigners, weren't we?
Of course, that's what it was.
Yeah, there was a different rule as well, wasn't there? Where it was assimilated. So assimilated was if you're from a different country, but had joined a club at 16, like myself. I was at Leeds at 16. Giggsy was assimilated as well. So it became between me and Giggsy.
Who played?
Yeah, so Giggsy played the nice easy games at home. I played the Galatasaray.
He's quite adamant on that. He said the reason you're not a midfield player and you're a fullback is because you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing in the world to be in there and think that you can receive the ball with the back to play. I mean, as good as you were, you probably wouldn't have been as comfortable.
I wouldn't have been comfortable in there. And I think the reason why the manager used to say to us when we are attacking to push into midfield, because midfield was such a big area in Europe, they always had an extra man in there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you stayed back as a full-back, you were almost an extra because they only had
3v1.
one.
Yeah.
So I think that's when because 98, we went out, it was in Monaco, we went out to...
No, it was.
97 Dortmund, wasn't it? And just that midfield area, I think, where we used to play a stringent 4 kind of 1-1. But that midfield...
In 99 was the first time we've sort of pushed in.
that we pushed in. That's the difference between our league and the Spanish league. And, well, the Bundesliga, there's a bit more in it. But I just quite like that kind of aggressiveness sometimes that sometimes you don't see in it.
Who's the toughest player you played against then?
Stoichkov.
Stoichkov.
Yeah, Stoichkov or Hadji. Or Johnny Barnes. Johnny Barnes was brilliant the late 80s, early 90s.
He was some player, wasn't
He was some player, John.
Jesus.
We clever. Because, like, all the teams had quick wingers. Now, John was quick, but he was clever as well. You know, he was clever. He could get you a goal. He was good in the area. The magic left foot. He was top. But
He was the main man for a long time.
He was the main man for a long time at Liverpool.
I think
He got injured, didn't he? He moved into midfield.
I think it was Achilles playing
that's
for
right.
England against Finland, I think. But I think I always say from 1987 when he joined Liverpool to about 91.
Unbelievable.
He was the best player in the league. He was like what Thierry Henry was, wasn't he?
Yeah,
in the Premier League for sort of 4
Remember
years.
as well, like he's gone from there. When he done the Achilles, he dropped into midfield.
Centre
Yeah.
midfield,
Brilliant.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he was great. But Stoichkov was so good. Hadji. I mean, these boys carried the national team on their own when you think about it. When Stoichkov
leaders in their teams.
And the thing about Stoichkov as well, he was an aggressive sod.
Yeah.
He would kick you. The final we played in '91 against Barcelona, he was actually suspended. Thank God. Because they had a great team. They won the old European Cup the following year with Laudrup and Koeman and all that, Goycochea, but he was a great player, Stoichkov.